In the quaint town of Willowbrook, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, there stood an old, dilapidated mansion known as Blackwood Manor. Legend had it that the mansion was cursed, and those who dared to enter never returned the same. But despite the warnings, curiosity often got the better of the townsfolk, and tales of eerie occurrences only fueled their desire to uncover the secrets hidden within its walls. One fateful night, a group of adventurous teenagers decided to explore the abandoned mansion. Among them was Sarah, a bold and fearless girl with a penchant for the supernatural. As they crept through the dark corridors, their footsteps echoing against the worn floorboards, they stumbled upon a room unlike any other. In the center of the room stood a large ornate mirror, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly glow. Intrigued, Sarah approached the mirror, her reflection staring back at her with an unnerving intensity. Suddenly, the mirror began to ripple like water, and before she could react, Sarah was pulled into its depths, disappearing from sight. When Sarah awoke, she found herself in a world that mirrored her own, yet everything seemed slightly off. The sky was an ominous shade of purple, and the once familiar streets of Willowbrook were now deserted and decrepit. As she wandered through the desolate town, Sarah realized that she was not alone. Everywhere she turned, she caught glimpses of her own reflection darting between shadows, watching her with sinister intent. Terrified and alone, Sarah soon discovered the truth behind the mirror. In this parallel universe, her reflection was not simply a reflection but a separate entity, a twisted version of herself hell-bent on taking her place in the real world. Determined to escape this nightmarish reality, Sarah embarked on a desperate quest to find a way back home. But as she delved deeper into the mysteries of the parallel universe, Sarah uncovered dark secrets that threatened to consume her. She learned that the reflections were not only capable of manipulating reality but also of controlling the minds of those they encountered. And worst of all, she realized that her own reflection was the ringleader, orchestrating a diabolical plan to switch places with her and trap her in this world forever. Faced with impossible odds, Sarah fought tooth and nail to survive, battling her own reflection and the twisted creatures it commanded. Along the way, she encountered other lost souls who had fallen victim to the mirror's malevolent influence, each one a tragic reminder of the horrors that lurked within. As the battle for her soul raged on, Sarah's determination never wavered. With the help of newfound allies and her own inner strength, she finally confronted her reflection in a final showdown atop the crumbling ruins of Blackwood Manor. In a clash of wills and magic, Sarah emerged victorious, shattering the mirror and banishing her reflection back to the depths from whence it came. Exhausted but triumphant, Sarah returned to her own world, forever changed by her harrowing ordeal. But as she gazed upon her reflection in the mirror once more, she knew that the shadows of the parallel universe would always linger, a haunting reminder of the dangers that lay just beyond the surface of reality. As Sarah returned to her world, she couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed her back. No longer did she trust the reflection in the mirror, always half expecting it to reach out and pull her back into the darkness. Haunted by the memories of her time in the parallel universe, Sarah became obsessed with understanding the true nature of the mirror and the forces that dwelled within it. She scoured ancient texts and consulted with experts in the occult, determined to uncover the secrets that had nearly cost her everything. But the more she learned, the more she realized that the threat was far from over. The shattered remains of the mirror had scattered across the dimensions, each shard capable of creating a gateway between worlds. And lurking within those shattered fragments were echoes of the reflections she had left behind, biding their time, waiting for the opportunity to strike once more. With each passing day, Sarah grew more paranoid, constantly on edge, wondering if the next reflection she encountered would be friend or foe. She found herself questioning the very fabric of reality, unsure of what was real and what was merely a twisted illusion. Desperate to protect herself and those she cared about, Sarah embarked on a quest to track down every last shard of the mirror, knowing that her own survival depended on it. But as she journeyed deeper into the darkness, she realized that the line between hero and villain was not always clear-cut, and that sometimes the greatest threats came from within. In the end, Sarah's quest for redemption would take her to the darkest corners of existence, where she would face not only the reflections of her past but also the demons that lurked within her own soul. And as she fought to save her world from the encroaching darkness, she would come to understand that the truest reflections were not found in mirrors, but in the choices we make and the sacrifices we are willing to endure for the ones we love. As Sarah delved deeper into her quest, she encountered others who had been touched by the darkness of the parallel universe. Some were allies, their own harrowing experiences driving them to join her cause, while others were adversaries, their minds twisted and corrupted by the malevolent forces they had encountered. Among them was Alex, a former friend who had fallen under the sway of his own reflection and now served as a lieutenant in the army of shadows. Though Sarah had once trusted him with her life, she now found herself locked in a bitter struggle against the very person she had once called a brother. Their battles were fierce and relentless, each confrontation pushing them both to their limits. Yet, even as Sarah fought to vanquish her former friend, a part of her still clung to the hope that he could be saved, that somewhere deep within him, the true Alex still existed. In a moment of clarity amidst the chaos, Sarah confronted Alex one final time, pleading with him to break free from the grip of his reflection and reclaim his humanity. For a fleeting instant, it seemed as though her words had reached him, as though the bond they had once shared had managed to pierce through the darkness that consumed him. But in the end, it was not enough. With a heavy heart, Sarah was forced to strike him down, knowing that she had lost not only a friend but also a piece of herself in the process. And as she stood over his fallen form, she vowed to carry on the fight in his memory, to ensure that no one else would suffer the same fate. As Sarah continued her quest, she was haunted by the knowledge that the darkness she fought against was not limited to the parallel universe alone. It lurked within the hearts of men, waiting for the opportunity to consume them and twist them into something unrecognizable. But she refused to give in to despair. With each shard of the mirror she destroyed, she brought herself one step closer to victory, one step closer to freeing her world from the shadows that threatened to engulf it. And though the scars of her journey would never fully heal, Sarah knew that as long as she had the strength to fight, there would always be hope for a brighter tomorrow. As Sarah's journey progressed, she found herself facing increasingly powerful adversaries, each more cunning and ruthless than the last. Among them was a being known only as the Shadow King, a malevolent entity that had once been a reflection much like her own. But unlike the others, the Shadow King had managed to break free from the confines of the mirror and now sought to conquer both worlds, bending them to his will. Driven by a thirst for power and a desire for vengeance against those who had imprisoned him, the Shadow King marshaled his forces, rallying the reflections to his cause and unleashing them upon Sarah and her allies with devastating effect. With each passing day, his influence spread, corrupting everything it touched and plunging the world into darkness. Realizing that she could not defeat the Shadow King alone, Sarah sought out ancient artifacts of untold power, relics said to hold the key to defeating the darkness once and for all. But as she delved deeper into her quest, she uncovered a shocking revelation. The artifacts were not merely tools of destruction but gateways to even greater horrors, their very existence threatening to tear apart the fabric of reality itself. Undeterred, Sarah pressed on, knowing that the fate of her world hung in the balance. With the aid of her allies, she embarked on a perilous journey to reclaim the artifacts before the Shadow King could lay claim to them. But with each step forward, they faced new challenges and betrayals, testing their resolve like never before. In a final showdown beneath the blood-red moon, Sarah confronted the Shadow King in a battle that would decide the fate of both worlds. With the artifacts in hand, she unleashed their power upon him, channeling the very essence of creation itself to banish him back to the depths from whence he came. As the echoes of their struggle faded into silence, Sarah emerged victorious, her world saved from the brink of destruction. But the cost of victory had been high, and she knew that the scars of their battle would linger for years to come. Yet amidst the ashes of their ordeal, there was hope. For in the face of unimaginable darkness, Sarah had proven that even the most unlikely of heroes could rise to the challenge, and that as long as there were those willing to fight for what was right, the light would always triumph over the shadows. With the Shadow King vanquished and the artifacts safely secured, Sarah and her allies returned to Willowbrook, their spirits weary but their hearts filled with hope. Though the scars of their journey would never fully fade, they knew that they had emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. In the aftermath of their victory, Sarah found herself hailed as a hero, her name whispered in awe and reverence by those who had once doubted her. But amidst the celebrations and accolades, she remained humble, knowing that she could not have succeeded without the support and bravery of her friends. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, life in Willowbrook began to return to normal. The shadows that had once loomed over the town were banished, replaced by a newfound sense of peace and tranquility. And though there were whispers of lingering darkness on the horizon, Sarah remained vigilant, ready to face whatever challenges the future might bring. But as she gazed upon her reflection in the mirror one evening, Sarah couldn't help but wonder what other mysteries lay hidden just beyond the surface of reality. For she knew that while the Shadow King may have been defeated, the parallel universe still held countless secrets waiting to be discovered. And so, with a sense of determination burning bright within her heart, Sarah vowed to continue her quest for knowledge and adventure, knowing that no matter what trials lay ahead, she would face them head-on, armed with courage, compassion, and the unwavering belief that even in the darkest of times, the light would always prevail.
Like, subscribe, and click on notifications that will allow you to stay up to date with the news and not miss videos from the channel, where there will be many more horror stories.